Good morning, everyone. Morning, Java. I tell you what, this YouTube thing's pretty fun. I had a gentleman by the name of Siler Sexton. He wrote, first he gave me a compliment on one of the videos, and then, as I've said in other YouTube videos, I asked for you guys to give me a question that you wish to have answered. And he had a pretty good question. And it has to do with, Les, what changes do you make to your calling strategy from the beginning of season, middle of season, to the end of season? So let's just categorize this from, say, October till early March. How does my calling strategy change? What do I do to increase or keep my success consistent throughout the course of the year? I think it's a great question. I think that too many times callers want to overthink everything, and me included. So I think we think that there has to be something we've got to do different to make the calling better, when in reality we've just got to stay the same, stay consistent, and keep doing what works. Whenever my brother and I would be doing competition calling, I would be the one going, man, they're just not responding, they're not coming in, we've got to do something different. He said, Les, we just keep doing what we always do, and we're gonna call coyotes. And there's so much truth to that. So always keep that in mind, that sometimes when you change, it's for the worse. So try to keep on the same track, that you want to stay in that same realm and keeping it the same as what you've always had your success at. Now, calling early season, say October, the thing you're going to get, and I'm going to use distress, and by distress, I'm meaning like a rabbit distress. That's the sound I'm using. Whether you're using bird distress, or you're using a rabbit distress, or a fawn deer distress, fawn antelope, I consider all those as a distress sound. So I'm going to use a distress sound. Typically it's more based towards a rabbit, but a lot of my calling seems like it represents a fawn in distress. So I tend to have decent success throughout wherever I go. And I use the distress sound primarily starting off in October. And the reason is because when coyotes have their litters and they raise the pups all summer, it comes to September, October, and a lot of those pups start venturing out, going off on their own. It's their time to be kicked away. They're being weaned, if you will. But early in the fall, even in November, you can still call in family groups of coyotes, the male, the female, and pups. So typically I like to use a distress, because a pup that's out there having to make his own way, he is going to be susceptible to coming to a prey sound, a rabbit distress, a fawn deer distress. Sometimes they're coming because they're curious. Other times they're coming because they are actually hungry and they know they need to eat. So I use distress. Now, as we gravitate a little more towards, say, December, I'm still doing the same thing. So many people think you've got to keep switching it up. But bear in mind, I don't call the same country over and over and over and over. I've always said, gas is cheap. Travel. Get in your pickup and drive. Quit thinking you've got to hunt the same section of land over and over and over. The only thing that's going to make you a better caller is getting out there, going and asking permission, and learning to talk to people. That's what I do. I love to just jump in my pickup. Everybody's like, you know, where are you going? I don't know. I look at a weather pattern. If I've never been to Texas, hey, let's go to Texas. And then I'll just start beating on doors. I don't care. I just go, okay? I'm using the same sound in December as what I was using in October. The only difference, maybe I'm setting a little longer. October, typically you're gonna have a fairly fast response time. You're gonna see those coyotes coming fairly quickly. So you know, I'm still going to set 15, 20 minutes. I've always done that, and probably more towards 20 minutes. December, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm still setting there 20, 25 minutes. I'm setting there, setting there, setting there. Everybody thinks that a coyote just has wings and he flies in. And I'll tell you, from all the times I've ever hunted with other people, I have people turning around looking at me, shrugging their shoulders at 10 minutes. It's like, calm down, let me handle this stand. You just sit there, okay? 9 times out of 10, you're going to call a coyote in there, 12, 15 minutes. So I like to sit there, learn to sit on your butt, be patient. That's the #1 trick and key to being successful. I'm not changing up the sounds. I'm using the same sound from October to December. Now we get into January. I've been in many competitions early in January. The calling can get tough, but I rely still on distress. Now later in January, when you get more towards the middle of January, end of January, early February, I may howl a little bit. I don't do a lot of howling, and I've just got my own philosophies, you know. There's other people that are right about things, but I've got my own way of hunting. So I'm not going to alter from what I do to appease other people. I've been successful doing what I do, so I'm going to keep doing it. Now the howl sequence that I use is just very subtle, submissive howls. Typically 1 to 3 howls in a series, and they're long drawn out howls, high pitched, because I want to represent a pup or a female. That's what I want to represent. I want to be not an interrogational type of a howl and defensive. I want to be very submissive. I just want to say, hey, I'm over here. Who else is out there? Now, one thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to pick on the aggression of another coyote. I want another coyote to say, what the heck is that chump doing over in our neck of the woods? Let's go take a look. Let's go see what's going on. Or you've got another young coyote going, hey, that sounds interesting. I want to go check that out. Maybe I've got a mate potential right there. So I'll throw out 3 howls, 1 to 3 howls, wait 3-4 minutes, do the same thing, wait 3-4 minutes, and then I will always go into distress. Very seldom do I sit there the whole time and howl. I do it, but it all comes with other philosophy, knowledge of the set, where you're at, what's going on with the coyotes in the area. There's a lot more wrapped around why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a little bit of howling that middle of January, end of January, first week of February. Then from there, February, once the coyotes breed and they've been bred, the female is bred and the mates are still with them, they start getting to that point in time when they're getting aggressive to their area. They find their home turf where they're going to have their litter, or they're going to have a denning site. So basically from that first week of February, maybe the second week of February on clear up into March, you're going to be keying on coyotes that have established their areas where they're going to have their pups, or they're getting into that area and they're saying, hey, this might be where we want to raise our young. There's a lot of food here. There's water. I like the hills. I like the terrain. There's cover. Let's raise our family right here. So what I'm doing is I'm slipping in that area and I'm using distress. Late season, I'm sitting longer. I'm sitting there 20, 25 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes. So many people, me included at times, we all want easy. We want easy street. We want to be the best there is, and we don't want to do any work to get there. And I can tell you, making fewer stands in a day, setting longer, you're gonna see decent results. It's always been that way for me. There's so many times I've sat there 20, 25, 30 minutes, and after I've called my last series, I just sat there. There's times I've sat on a stand for another 10 minutes, never made a sound. And guess what comes sneaking in? A coyote. They come sneaking in to check what was going on there. I can't tell you how many times I've killed a coyote like that. Never made a sound. Just let them, here they come. Just let them walk right in, get the rifle ready. Here they come, here they come. I've actually shotgun coyotes that way. Never made a sound. They came right to where I was. So, patience, patience, patience. I can't tell you enough. That is my strategy. And some of the strategy late in the season, you know, there's all these e-calls now, and they've got all the sounds, and I mean, there's the sound of a baby in a bathtub, and there's a, you know, and I'm just being sarcastic here. There's every sound you could ever want on an e-call. Does that mean you're going to be successful? All those sounds? No, it don't mean nothing. If you don't know how to use those sounds or when to use them, why you're using them, you're never going to be successful. So the one sound that'll work good late in the season is Pup Distress, because you're keying on the females that have been bred and the male with her, and you're keying on that motherly instinct to, she's had pups before, she knows that sound, she wants to protect those pups. So her natural instinct is to go check it out. So that sound will work good late in the year. Other than that, I hope this video helps you out. Keep it simple. Don't quit using the sounds that you've always been successful with. Always revert back to those sounds. That's what I do. So many people think that there's a magic sound. There's a wand out there that you wiggle and, oh, we got to try this sound this time. I've been in different parts of the country where a higher pitched sound works better for whatever reason. I don't know why. So you need to sound more like a high pitched cottontail or a bird distress, and you'll call in more coyotes. I don't know why that is, but I've had to do it. Once you figure out what they respond to, keep using it. When the wheel's not broken, don't try to fix it. I hope that helped, Siler. Thank you for your question. I hope this helped you a little bit. And to everybody else out there, thank you so much for watching my video. Java with less. Let's do it again sometime. Until next time, I'm going to get outdoors.